Good evening. I'm Andrea Ghez, Professor of Physics and Astronomy. As the Marshal today, my role is to guide everyone into our virtual celebration. When I have served as the Marshal for past ceremonies, I brought in the faculty and the campus leaders who sit on the stage, and I announced when the students joined us and joined their excited families and friends in Poly Pavilion. It's an enormous room, fully alive and celebrating our students' achievements. I wish I could do that now, today. Unfortunately, I can't begin any processions, but I can provide some guidance. As a scientist, I have an understanding of the universe that could help us examine the past year at UCLA through a new lens. While studying the supermassive black hole at the center of our galaxy over the past 25 years, one of my primary research questions has been, how do you observe something you can't see? Black holes have a pull of gravity so strong that not even light can escape them. To find black holes, we have to watch the way things move around them to prove they exist. During the pandemic, many of us could not see UCLA directly, at least not in person, because we had to pack up and leave our campus and stay at home. Time passed in a strange way because we lost our routines. Each day bent into the next. Space and time were warped, and UCLA was missing from our lives. So how did we know that our campus was still there? During the months we couldn't be together in the same space, we had to look for UCLA by looking for each other. We logged into the UCLA Undergraduate Research and Creativity Showcase and learned about the impressive work of UCLA's students. We used Zoom to attend lectures and seminars to find other important opportunities to connect. Virtual office hours for students? I held them, and so did many of my colleagues. We were drawn together in our effort to be with each other, even virtually. This was the kind of movement around UCLA that we could observe, and it was invaluable. It was the profound evidence that UCLA was still there, still strong, and still the best. Now, as I bring you with me into our virtual celebration today, I want to thank the class of 2021 for your persistence, even when perhaps you felt alone and when you couldn't see the campus in person. You were our active, vibrant community. You were the brightness that continued to pierce through. May your futures be extraordinary, and may your light shine powerfully and embody the change our world needs. Fiat Lux. Graduates, family, friends, faculty, and staff, I welcome you to the UCLA College of Letters and Science Class of 2021 virtual celebration. I am so grateful that we can be together now as we anticipate with excitement the future in-person ceremonies that the college will hold to recognize your achievements. Before we proceed, the College of Letters and Science at UCLA acknowledges our presence on the traditional, ancestral, and unceded territory of the Gabrielino Tongva peoples. Now, please welcome our singers who are graduating today from the UCLA Herb Alpert School of Music. Maya Sumanawira, Carmen Voskuhl, Toby Bradford, and Andrew Pringle. They will sing our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly
Thank you. That was beautiful. Now, I'm honored to introduce the Dean of Undergraduate Education, Adriana Galván.
Class of 2021, family and friends, I want to welcome you on behalf of the deans, faculty, staff, and alumni of UCLA's College of Letters and Science. We celebrate your graduation today, and we look forward to when we can provide you with a formal ceremony in person, on campus, as soon as that's possible. I can't wait for that moment. One of the most important things I do as Dean of Undergraduate Education is spend time with you, our students, teaching you and learning from you. It has been challenging over the past year for this to happen the way we all want it to. Before we had to leave campus, I got to see you every day, walking up Bruin Walk. Some of you worked in my laboratory in Franz Hall. I waited with you in the serpentine lines of the bomb shelter as we picked up lunch. I'll never forget sitting among you the first time I heard the electrifying sounds of spring sing, or joining you at the Luskin Lecture for Thought Leadership at Royce Hall to learn from leaders around the world. But perhaps my favorite highlights have been listening to you in conversation with each other, whether it's supporting each other's clubs, leaning on friends during a difficult time, or celebrating the end of finals. The love Bruins have for each other is unparalleled. Then we had to pivot to remote learning during the pandemic. I saw your amazing determination to continue in your studies. As we gathered online, I saw your pursuit of intellectual discovery, your dedication to supporting your fellow Bruins, and your vibrant commitment to reforming our society's racist institutions. You protested the outrageousness of brutal acts and biases, and you championed equity and inclusion. With your future on the horizon, you've gained significant ground even as our community was kept apart. What a distinct accomplishment. Think for a moment about what you knew when you came here to begin your careers as Bruins. So much about what you would experience as a student was unknown to you at that point. Your UCLA career was pure potential. Our campus, before it was constructed here in Westwood, was its own empty canvas of dirt and grass. And then it was populated with structures guided into the sky by scaffolding and the contributions from many crafts. Most importantly, it was deliberately built for your education, with the grandness of our mission imbued in every brick. It's a wonderful place, and it ached without you this past year. But silently, in the entire time, it represented the scaffolding that brought you to this moment, the culmination of your hard work. NATALIE DUNGEY is performing on the trumpet. She graduates today with a Bachelor of Music and a Bachelor of Arts in Psychology. There are so many things that stand out about the class of 2021. I have to confide in you. You are my first graduating class of students as a Dean of Undergraduate Education. I want you to know that after all of the sacrifices you've made, after our loss of being together on these beautiful hills against a stunning blue sky for nearly 15 months, you will stand alone in my heart as genuinely extraordinary. It is my pleasure to introduce the Chancellor of UCLA. As a chief executive of our campus for 14 years, he has dedicated his work to advancing our academic excellence, increasing the diversity of our campus, and promoting community-changing civic engagement as an intrinsic part of our mission. During the past year, Chancellor Block's leadership has ensured that UCLA could continue to excel in countless ways in support of our local and global communities' recovery from the pandemic. Please welcome the Chancellor of UCLA, Gene Block.
Graduates of the UCLA College Class of 2021, both near and far, congratulations. Today is your day. It's a day of joy and celebration, of reflection and aspiration, of powerful endings and wondrous new beginnings. It's a day that brings with it relief, excitement, apprehension, and above all, I hope a very deep sense of accomplishment. For today, after many late nights and early mornings, you can proudly call yourselves graduates of UCLA, the nation's #1 public university. Every member of the UCLA community is overjoyed at your achievements. But most delighted of all are the people who have stood by you these past few years, offering their love and support. So I hope you'll take a moment to join me in recognizing your families, partners, children, friends, and mentors, everyone who's helped you reach one of life's great milestones. Now, I am certain that none of you imagined your time at UCLA would come to a close quite like this. Over the past 15 months, you've had to adapt to massive changes in your studies, in your relationships with the UCLA campus, and in your personal lives. Yet you kept up your work even as classes abruptly changed formats, as you needed to physically separate from your peers, as you found yourself sharing spaces with brothers and sisters and parents, as everyday inconvenience like the stock of toilet paper running low or a slow internet connection suddenly became strangely dire. I also know that the effects of the pandemic hit very unevenly. For some of you, reaching this day has required serious sacrifice. The fact that you've made it through more than a year of upheaval to arrive at this moment is a testament to your resilience, ingenuity, diligence, and courage. These traits will serve you well as we emerge from the pandemic, for the world will still remain rife with complex, intractable, and global problems, from poverty to international conflict, to public health issues, to climate change. As you lead the efforts to solve these problems, you will constantly draw on your UCLA education and the principles and values you've developed here. But there's also specific skills that I believe the pandemic has shown to be essential for success in the decades to come. I'd like to briefly share just 3 of these with you today. First, I believe the pandemic offered us a textbook case for why English and history majors in the college are still required to take science courses as breadth requirements. In the past year, we saw concerned citizens of all backgrounds dive headfirst into subjects such as immunology, viral transmission, test accuracy, vaccine efficacy, and viral variants. People consumed and shared scientific information at unprecedented levels. But unfortunately, many also lack the knowledge and experience needed to understand, interpret, and critique that information. As a result, incorrect data and faulty conclusions spread like wildfire. While the pandemic underscored the vital role of science in helping address health, economic, and societal challenges, it also highlighted societal failures in science education. Even if you become a lawyer or an actress, consider science literacy as a skill that you must continue to hone. It will serve you well in understanding the economy and your personal health, or even the weather forecast and the nutrients in your food. A second skill that the pandemic has shown to be vital is information literacy. By this I mean the critical reasoning skills that allow us to rigorously examine any new idea or piece of news that comes our way, to study its merits, to evaluate who we're hearing it from, and what their agenda might be, to consider whether to consult with other sources, and most important of all, to make certain that we steer clear of conspiracy theories and other spurious claims. In the U.S. this past year alone, many Americans, goaded by some of our political leaders, dismissed science-based recommendations from infectious disease experts to wear masks, maintain physical distancing, and shelter in place. Rather than come together as a nation to slow the spread of the virus, we saw too many people ignore, downplay, or politicize scientifically rooted recommendations while simultaneously embracing dangerous beliefs and behaviors. Making decisions based on misinformation, as we've seen, can be downright deadly. To navigate through the smoke and mirrors, to see what is true and what is mere assertion, will require all of the critical thinking skills you've learned at UCLA. The last concept I want to mention is global literacy, an understanding of the interconnectedness of the world and of the importance of being a global citizen. Even as the pandemic brought on troubling xenophobia and increased isolationism, it also showed us that this public health crisis knows no national boundaries. Increasingly, we must address our major challenges as a world community, interacting with people unlike yourself and building cultural fluency, which have been core parts of life at UCLA, can serve as critical steps towards developing such a global mindset. Science literacy, information literacy, and global literacy, all of them are essential even now as we continue to fight the pandemic, but they will also be necessary as you go on to build a more equitable society in the face of other crises. If you continue to sharpen these skills, draw on your broader UCLA education, and to look inward to the tenacity and creativity and boldness and empathy you've developed here, you will have everything it takes to surmount any challenge and to create a more resilient, more just, and more beautiful world. And I should add, if you need any more support, look to the UCLA Alumni Association, which you now join as lifelong members. Through an initiative we are calling the Bruin Promise, we're offering more and more classes that alumni can take even well after graduation to help you retool and take on new challenges later in life. With that, members of the UCLA College Class of 2021, let me congratulate you once more. May you live deeply fulfilling lives, may you enjoy much happiness, and may you serve not just your own needs, but those of the larger world. Keep UCLA and your fellow Bruins close to you always. I wish you the very best of luck.
We have 3 student speakers to address the class of 2021 today. It is my pleasure to introduce Rachel DeRose, who is graduating today with degrees in political science and public affairs. Isabel Tweet graduates with a degree in psychobiology, and Michelle Garibay graduates with a degree in political science.
Welcome, Bruin community, to the Class of 2021 commencement ceremony. It is my honor to welcome my peers, faculty, friends, and family to this year's unique graduation. Before we proceed with our celebration, I want to take this moment to honor those who are no longer with us, but who we dreamed of sharing this experience with. May their memories be a blessing. I'm sure we all hoped that come June of 2021, we would all be packed into Poly Pavilion once more. Unfortunately, we all know that our time at UCLA was irreparably changed by COVID-19. Grieving for experiences rather than for people during a time like this feels privileged, I know. But it doesn't erase the pain all of us have felt about our final year as UCLA Bruins. And that pain deserves to be honored today just as much as the joy we felt when we were first Bruintized does. We were supposed to have one more year of crowded Haynes Hall lectures and bustling Bruin walk treks. All too soon, the steps of Royce became the steps to our bedrooms, and the sculpture garden of North Campus became a Zoom background. But the UCLA community is stronger and better than it was a year ago. In the last year, we have learned a level of compassion that I hope every Bruin will carry with them for a lifetime. To my first-generation college peers, and to the members of other UCLA communities who have felt invisible or voiceless, I hope that in the last year you have felt supported by our campus, that you have felt professors and students uplift our stories and finally understand our experiences. I hope that you too have felt more accepted as a Bruin. And in the years prior to this special final one, I know we learned the joys of UCLA together. We learned the ways our laughter echoes across the brick walls of the Powell courtyard, the ways our friends' smiles can be seen across the sunken gardens, the ways even our on-campus club meetings turn into festivities. When I reflect on my time at UCLA, I don't think first to the experiences we didn't have, but to the ones that shaped me into the Bruin I am today. The class of 2021 has done something truly remarkable. We're graduating from a world-renowned university after a year that future Bruins will learn about in history textbooks. And my most unwavering belief is that while we may be graduating from UCLA today, the mentorships and friendships we formed across campus and from our laptops will last a lifetime. To the class of 2021, if our time at UCLA has taught us one thing, it's that we can do anything.
If we're to live up to our own time, then victory won't lie in the blade, but in all the bridges we've made. That is the promise to Glade, the hill we climb. At this year's inauguration of the 45th president, Amanda Gorman reminded us of the hill so many Americans face. It may be silly, but as she spoke to me, as she spoke to all of us, I could not help but think of the responsibility we took climbing the hill here at UCLA. Looking back at that first day, I see sweaty siblings shouldering mattress toppers. I see anxious parents swollen with pride and photos of their embarrassed freshmen. I see us, Bruins, with no idea that the following years would bring a global pandemic, gymnastics championship, and our greatest challenge yet, Duo Mobile. While Gorman did not attend UCLA, her insights should speak to all of us. Particularly, she calls upon us to live up to our own time and take advantage of the tools and education we have been given to do so. As she alludes to the importance of identity, I think we should reflect on how ours have been shaped and shifted here at UCLA. Here we were asked not only who we want to be, but who we are. I believe many of us struggled with the latter as we tried to differentiate between the body society sees and the self we want to expose. Thankfully, UCLA gave us the space to be vulnerable and explore the identity we wish to show the world. With that realization, though, comes a responsibility. You see, our professors and peers did not educate and guide merely to provide self-discovery. Instead, it is the duty of Bruins to use our identity to do good and make a difference. Graduation and final exams are in no way the last steps up the hill. No, they are merely beginnings. Beginnings as the world receives us as prepared and true Bruins. It is our duty to continue building the bridges Gorman alludes to. The bridges our ancestors and fellow UCLA alumni sought to forge for a united, strong, and connected future. It is our duty to not just continue these legacies, but to find new connections and bridges that need to be made. These new bridges should be built with a certain kindness, a certain love for communion and the people, cultures, and ideas they will connect. These new bridges should rest on a foundation of an ever-growing understanding of the mistakes and faults of the past. We have that obligation. We have that obligation to UCLA, to future generations, and to ourselves. I stand here uncertain of many things. I think we all do. But I take comfort in Gorman's advice and the new identity I have formed at UCLA. Most importantly, I take comfort in knowing that we will climb that next hill together. Thank you.
Faculty, friends, family, and most importantly, the UCLA class of 2021. It is my honor to stand before you and say, we did it. What a year it has been. A year filled with excitement, challenges, compassion, celebration, and primarily a year that has been filled with substantial amounts of change. Sure, change can be challenging and intolerable, but change can also be healing. It can serve as a learning prospect, and above all, change can bring forth the best the world has ever seen. But one thing which has remained unchanged is our Bruins spirit, values, and the blue and gold light which has been instilled in us all. So, in spite of all the uncertainty and the ever-changing world, I encourage you all to take a minute and bask in the greatness of graduating from the #1 public university in the country, UCLA. All of us here today epitomize what it means to be a Bruin. We have all conquered the dreaded Olympic workout up UCLA hills and accepted the bane of our existence, running out of meal swipes. But more importantly, through our passion, creativity, and tenacity, each of us have conducted meaningful work that will shape the future of our respective fields and UCLA as a whole. I find it amazing that despite the circumstances, all of us have found a way to connect with one another and shed a little light when the world seems especially dark. Our university's motto, Fiat Lux, seems especially fitting now more than ever. It is in moments like these that I can't help but feel incredibly proud to call myself a Bruin. Speaking about being Bruins, we all had that moment where we fell in love with UCLA. For some, it was when they tried B-Plate or Diddy Reese for the first time. For others, it was when they first touched the water in the inverted fountain or witnessed a jaw-dropping sunset seen from Jan Steps. And for a great number, it was when the UCLA men's basketball team made it into the NCAA Final Four. As for me, I fell in love with UCLA through my laptop screen. As a transfer student, I had 6 short yet incredible months on campus. It was really my dream come true. But just like all my peers here today, I began my senior year accepting the awkwardness of sometimes being one of few students with their camera on during Zoom classes. But my overarching and overwhelming feeling at that first moment when I stepped foot on campus and continuing now is tremendous gratitude. I'm fortunate to be at an institution that embraces diversity and has a culture of inclusiveness. To Chancellor Block, distinguished alumni, faculty, family, and friends, thank you so much for your incredible dedication and support. Clearly, I longed for late nights in Powell and my daily casual stroll down Bruin Walk. But the reason I say that I fell in love with UCLA through my screen is because the most special moments and experiences in life are created with the people you're with rather than where you are. And this year made that clearly evident. Class of 2021, let us be the change that we wish to see in the world. And no matter where we are, let us continue to forever hold on to the blue and gold light and everlasting Bruin spirit that shines within us all. Congratulations and thank you.
Now it's my pleasure to introduce our distinguished alumni keynote speaker, D'Artagnan Scorza. I spoke earlier about what it will take to conceive of and create a more equitable world. And D'Artagnan, or Dart as he's known, is someone who has spent his life doing just that. A native of Inglewood who grew up in a supportive but economically vulnerable community, Dart excelled in school and went to enroll at UCLA in 1998. When the September 11 terrorist attacks occurred, he joined the Navy and served for 4.5 years, including deployment to Iraq. He later returned to UCLA, completing his bachelor's degree in the study of religion in 2007 and his doctorate in education in 2013. As a UC student regent from 2007 to 2009, he helped pass policies that established veteran service centers at the UC campuses and prioritized $160 million for new student services. In 2008, Dart founded the nonprofit Social Justice Learning Institute and would serve as its executive director for the next 12 years, leading efforts to open up academic and career opportunities to Black and Latino youth while supporting community gardens, farmers markets, and healthy lifestyle centers in Inglewood. His research, policy initiatives, and grassroots organizing have had a great impact on high-need communities in his hometown and throughout California. Today, Dart serves as inaugural Executive Director of Racial Equity for Los Angeles County, where he's developing and implementing a county-wide plan to address structural racism and bias. He is also president of the UCLA Alumni Association. We are very proud to have him as a member of our Bruin family and very grateful for a chance to hear from him today.
Steel, One of the strongest metals known to humankind finds its greatest strength in the hottest of fires. In a forge, it's enhanced and made stronger. Its impurities are removed and new elements are added. It becomes more durable and reliable. Even under intense amounts of stress, it holds its shape and can withstand mounds of pressure. The process to turn iron and carbon into this oft-used metal can be brutal. It requires a lot of heat, a lot of shaping, and a whole lot of beating. Now, I think I know what you might be thinking. You may be expecting me to say that this year has made all of us stronger and ready to handle anything. Well, think again. Because you and I, see, we're not still. Nor should we act as though we're not living through such a transformational moment in all of our lives. And yet, we should neither deny the ways that we've been shaped, stressed, and placed under pressure over the past year. We should not deny that we too have been forged, and in our case, by the fires of history. When this pandemic first began, none of us could have imagined the impact it would have on our lives. For the first time in more than 100 years, we were forced to react to a global crisis on a scale many of us have not experienced in our lifetimes. Your plans have changed and our lives have changed. The world is different, and while you've probably been told that the memories you make in college will last you a lifetime, this year of transition is not what you expected. Some of us have lost loved ones and friends during this pandemic. Some of us have felt alone and isolated, and others have also found a way to use this time to recognize the importance of keeping friends and family close. Some of us have taken on new hobbies or found new ways to help others or to even ask for help. Some of us have loved living in sweatpants, and others have made breakfast during class. Some of us still haven't found the unmute button on Zoom, and others have mistakenly DM'd the entire class talking about their pandemic bays or pandemic booze. I know exactly who you are. I will not name names. We've also learned that our everyday actions affect other people, that we each have a responsibility to look out for ourselves by looking out for others. For example, we've learned the value of considering the needs of others. My mask protects you and your mask protects me is not just about protecting us from the spread of COVID. Instead, it's become a symbol for our responsibility to each other's humanity. And while this crisis made us aware of our vulnerabilities and disrupted our sense of normalcy, it also brought to the forefront a reality that many of us already knew. You see, what was the normal for us was actually not okay. That the pandemic wasn't a crisis all by itself. Instead, it was an awakening that revealed deep-seated and deep-rooted inequities in our communities and created the space for a global call to action. It made us aware of the struggle that so many communities have faced for generations. One of my earliest memories of my father was meeting him in a halfway house. I learned that he had just been released for using drugs and was in a transition home. I remember being confused and not really understanding why he was in that place, not at home. And as I grew up and as time went on, when I watched him cycle in and out of prison at Tehachapi State or other state prisons for drug use, I felt a sense of loss and sadness and even anger. It wasn't until I got a little bit older that I came to understand how the policies of our government impacted someone like him, how he was judged, penalized, locked up, and removed from my and my siblings' lives. When I was old enough, actually during my third year at UCLA, I decided to ask him why. Like, Dad, why did you use drugs? He said, son, there weren't jobs in our neighborhoods. Factories were shutting down, and there weren't opportunities to take care of our families. We saw people like moving out to the suburbs, and we were left with the scraps that were available and had to fend for ourselves. Drugs flooded our streets, and that's all there was to do. As I came to understand his story, and mine for that matter, and reflected upon the impact it had upon my life, I sought to understand the underlying causes of both his addiction and our nation's response to people like him. I learned about the war on drugs and the sentencing policies that devastated Black communities in the 80s and 90s, leading up to mass incarceration. I learned that, a drug addiction is a disease. I learned about redlining and the role it played in denying economic opportunities to people of color since the 30s, including veterans like myself. I learned about the divestments from public education and the rise in poverty from and underemployment. I came to learn about and experience what it meant to be over-policed, underprotected, and profiled simply because of the color of one's skin. And as I studied and listened and understood the history that has forged our society, I came to realize that his story, my story, and all of our stories are the result of forces that shape our lives and not always for the better. Much like the forces that are shaping our lives now and feel like they are in some ways beyond all of our control, each of us have experienced circumstances where we know how difficult it is to navigate through hard times. We are in a hard time right now. I also recognize that my circumstances were but a microcosm of a much larger set of conditions that many people, especially people of color, face in our society. If you're Asian American, you may have experienced or witnessed discrimination, hate, and/or violence directed towards you or your community. If you're undocumented, despite the taxes you pay and the contributions you made, you may live with the threat of deportation. If you're Muslim traveling into or living here, you may have been banned from entering the country on the basis of your religion or dealt with attacks against your religious institutions. You see, for many communities, the normal of our pre-pandemic lives was, well, not okay. We were hurting as individuals, as communities, and as a society. And this past year has highlighted major issues that we must deal with and recognize that the old normal we've been used to is an abnormal that we must all work together to change. From the summer of civil unrest stemming from the murder of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and many others, to the food and housing insecurity many of our families have experienced, we cannot and we must not accept or go back to the way things were. And that's one of the reasons why you are here. You are a Bruin, and UCLA is an engine of social mobility and a place where ideas and innovation and solutions can thrive. UCLA has equipped you with the skills you need to transform the world in these unprecedented times. And while that seems like a very large task, I know you can do it. Now let me help run this down for you real quick. You've navigated remote learning, you've applied for jobs or graduate programs during a global pandemic, and you've sought to build and maintain friendships in a two-dimensional world. You know, you've brought the classroom into your kitchen, your living room, or your bedroom, which in some ways led to a blurring of school, work, and personal life boundaries. But you've also learned to keep those you care about close and to take time to appreciate the small things. Although you faced isolation or loneliness, and I know some of you are worried about sort of how are you going to date again, right? I understand that this may have created strains on your mental health or on our mental health. But because of that, you've inspired us to focus on self-care and to do so unapologetically. You've learned how to take on multiple responsibilities for yourself, your family, and your friends to help them get through this economic crisis. And yes, you've been exposed to brokenness and to hurt, to injustice, and to some of the ills of our society, but you've persevered and you are still here. Well, I actually mean like you're graduating, you're moving on. Technically, you're not gonna be here anymore, but you're still with us. You're still able to lead. You are still able to have an impact upon this world. But I believe there's another way to look at this unprecedented time. The words unprecedented times are most often used to convey uncertainty in the sense that we're not sure what will happen next because we've never seen this before. But instead of you looking at this past year as unprecedented, you could see this past year as something you've never done before. Instead of you looking at this past year as things you've missed out on, you could look at this past year as an opportunity for you to grow. The fact is that you, the class of 2021, you're going to go on to do things that have never been done before. Some of you will go on to tackle global problems that have never been solved before. Some of you will enter careers that have never existed before. Some of you will treat ailments that have never been cured before. Some of you will create things never envisioned before. Some of you will help our hurting society heal in a way that has never been done before. Because you know what? You're not just the class of 2021. You're the class of transformation. Sometimes it's when our societies meet their greatest challenges. That's when change and opportunity is possible. I know you can create transformation because as a Bruin, as a graduate, as someone that has served in the Navy, that has created and founded the Social Justice Learning Institute here in Los Angeles, and now serves as the inaugural Executive Director of Racial Equity for Los Angeles County, I can tell you that UCLA prepared me and has also prepared you for a bright future. Now back to my father. When I returned home from the Navy and, lost my cousin to gun violence, I knew I had to do something about the conditions facing my community. So I launched an organization to help improve the life outcomes for young black males and students of color. That work led to a 95% graduation rate and an 80% college and/or trade school enrollment rate from my students. My dad was still incarcerated, and I, along with the students in my organization, went out to the community and we organized to help pass Proposition 47, which is a state law here in California that reclassified a number of nonviolent felonies into misdemeanors. Shortly after it passed, I got a call from my father. This was just before Thanksgiving, and he said, "Dart, I'm coming home." I asked him what he meant. He said, "I'm getting a Proposition 47 release, and I'll be home in time for the holiday." It was in that moment that I knew that all I had gone through growing up prepared me to not only help bring my father home, but so many other fathers and mothers who were victims of mass incarceration and those policies from the 80s and the 90s. That the fires of my history forged in me a deep commitment to justice. And that's what I feel hopeful about for you and for all of us. Because not only are you the class of transformation, class of 2021, you are the class of justice. And see, that's what I feel hopeful about for you and for all of us. Because not only are you the class of transformation, you, the UCLA class of 2021, you're the class of justice. You are the class that is uniquely forced to bring about more justice. You are a class shaped by the fires of this past year and equipped and ready to help us heal as a society and as individuals. You're ready to create the world you want to see. You can do it, Bruins. I know you can. You can also do good for yourself and do good in this world. See, never would I have imagined that all that I've been through would have prepared me to be able to work in a new and emerging field focused on advancing racial justice, to live up to the dream and the promise of our nation. By the way, let me just remind you that you're not on mute, at least not in real life. I hope each time you hear that phrase, you remember that you have an important voice that needs to be heard loud and clear. That you remember these years and the responsibility and the role you have to play in shaping our world. In the heart of each and every single one of us is the hope that we can do good work in the world, that we can make it our career and still keep our conscience, that we can take care of ourselves, that we can take care of our families and our communities. And I can tell you with all certainty that you can and you will. In a forge, steel is shaped. And in the fires of history, you have been shaped. You each have the power to make a difference through your daily actions. You each have the power to inspire change, to lift others up, and focus on what you know is possible. I know that because your time at UCLA, even with all the uncertainty and the feelings of this being an unprecedented time, has put you on a path to inspire others and to lead with your values. You see, you're not just the class of transformation 2021, you're not just the class of justice, you are also the class of hope. Now, speaking from the generation ahead of you, thank you. You see, we needed and continue to need to learn lessons from you. I know that my generation and the generations to come will learn so much from your class. We are all in this together, and while we may have had different journeys this year, and while the pandemic may have pointed out ways we are different and the inequities that exist in our society, we still got through this together. I believe the experiences over the past year will shape us for the better because of what each and every single one of you will go out and accomplish. For you are the class of transformation. You are the class of justice, and you are the class of hope. You are the UCLA class of 2021. Congratulations and go Bruins!
Now it is my honor to present the candidates for the conferral of their degrees. I will call on the deans of the college to present the bachelor's candidates to Chancellor Block. Presenting the candidates for the bachelor's degree in the UCLA International Institute is Cindy Fan, Vice Provost for International Studies and Global Engagement.
Candidates for the Bachelor of Arts degree from the International Institute. You're graduating during an especially difficult period in our global history. We're extremely proud of you, not only because of your academic achievements, but also because of your resilience and resolve to overcome the unique challenges in these extraordinary times. The pandemic reminds us that never has it been more important to educate culturally competent global citizens in a world where we need to work together to find solutions for global problems. Connecting across borders, bringing nations and cultures together, and having a deep understanding of people and places in the world are precisely the educational goals of the International Institute. Graduates of the International Institute, you are ready to be leaders because you have the skills to bridge the gaps that separate nations and cultures and to promote global and local engagement toward finding solutions for issues such as global climate change, systemic racism, political conflicts, social inequality and injustice, and global health crises. Your skills are needed in the world now more than ever. The multidisciplinary research and academic programs of the International Institute aim to cross boundaries and build a global understanding. The Bachelor of Arts programs of the International Institute are designed to improve student understanding of the world and produce global citizens as the next generation of world leaders. Some of our students focus on a particular geographic region of the world, as is the case for our majors in African and Middle Eastern Studies, Asian Studies, European Studies, and Latin American Studies. Other students explore global issues through thematic programs, as is the case for our majors in Global Studies and International Development Studies. Graduates of the International Institute, you leave UCLA with an educational background that will help you to recognize the value of new forms of civic engagement across the local and the global, the national and the international. You are empowered to shape and improve the world as the next generation of leaders in business, education, government, the non-profit sector, in fact, in any endeavors that you are passionate about in any parts of the world. Chancellor Block, I'm honored to present to you the globally aware and competent, civic-minded, leadership-driven, interculturally astute candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Arts from the UCLA International Institute.
Presenting the candidates for the bachelor's degree in the Division of Humanities is Dean David Skalberg.
Candidates for the Bachelor of Arts degree in the Division of Humanities. When I think of you, I reflect that the greatest public research university in the land educates experts and seekers of knowledge of many kinds, and that among these, since UCLA's founding a century ago, there have always been the experts in humankind, the young people who felt called to study the human legacy itself, the thought and languages and literatures and arts that define our personal and our social lives and our long cultural histories. Indeed, universities have, since their earliest beginnings over a millennium ago, made a place for the fundamental consideration of human value, human meaning, and human improvement. And from this seed, the university grew and continues to grow even as we humans have faced a whole set of new challenges and new opportunities. Humanities graduates, what have you learned and what will you take with you from UCLA to teach others? You're graduates in philosophy and exacting caretakers of the truth. You're linguists, scholars of language itself as a human faculty and as a medium of communication. You're art historians, keen observers of the image and its uses. You're scholars of religion and of how humans' deepest beliefs about the world shape their lives. You're learners of difficult languages and sharp and independent-minded readers of the literatures of the world. Literatures in English, Asian languages and cultures, Near Eastern languages and cultures, comparative literature, classics, Spanish and Portuguese, French and Francophone, Italian, Slavic, East European and Eurasian languages and cultures, Germanic and Scandinavian. And many of you have completed minors in digital humanities and in LGBTQ studies. I hope that you've completed the coursework for your degrees with joy in learning and with a real drive to understand all that is human. But I know you're also aware of the very practical and very considerable powers that you've acquired. You're highly trained writers and speakers. You're readers and translators and interpreters of complex human situations, including situations of conflict. You're living encyclopedias of culture, and you're spokespeople for the commitments held most dear by human beings. And you're critics, you're creators, free thinkers, fighters for justice, and continually self-correcting learners. These are the powers that any workplace needs. They're also very clearly the powers the world will need in the coming years. Chancellor Block, I present to you the eloquent, cultured, thoughtful, resourceful, passionately humane candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Arts from the Division of Humanities.
Presenting the candidates for the bachelor's degrees in the Division of Life Sciences is Dean Tracy Johnson.
To the candidates for the degrees of Bachelor of Science and Bachelor of Arts in the Division of Life Sciences, I would like to start by congratulating you for all you've accomplished at a truly extraordinary time. I'm sure that when you started this journey, you did not predict a graduation, or indeed a year like this. And while this time has brought challenges to all of us, it's also important to take stock of what the disciplines within the life sciences, which you have all explored and embraced, have accomplished in this extraordinary year. Accomplishments like research in psychology that has helped us understand and, yes, ameliorate the psychological stress of this time. Advances in computational and systems biology that have allowed us to see the sequence of a virus to single nucleotide resolution and to understand its biology. And because of fundamental studies in immunology and molecular biology, we were poised to develop and distribute in record time life-saving treatments and protective vaccines. Yes, in this last year, disciplines in the life sciences have quite literally been at the center of addressing the most fundamental global challenge of a generation. But frankly, this isn't new. Life sciences disciplines have long been at the forefront of addressing the most fundamental and existential questions. Questions like, what is the impact of human activity on the planet? And what do we need to do to mitigate negative effects? How do we prevent and cure life-threatening diseases? What is consciousness? How do we think? How do we learn? How do we love? And how does that 3-pound organ inside our skulls affect all of this? At UCLA, to address these exciting biological questions, We offer a dozen majors in the life sciences, including computational and systems biology, ecology, behavior and evolution, marine biology, human biology and society, cognitive science, microbiology, immunology and molecular genetics, molecular cell and developmental biology, physiology, neuroscience, psychobiology, biology, and psychology. As UCLA has just recently marked its first 100 years, you, our graduating Bruins, will lead us into the next 100 years as our future leaders, doctors, teachers, research scientists, therapists, entrepreneurs, and global citizens. Chancellor Block, it is my honor to present to you the psychologically well-adjusted, neurologically well-connected, ecologically sensitive, evolutionarily complex, immunologically resistant, molecularly sophisticated, physiologically well-integrated, computationally advanced, and absolutely amazing candidates for the degrees of Bachelor of Science and Bachelor of Arts from the Division of Life Sciences.
Presenting the candidates for the bachelor's degrees in the Division of Physical Sciences is Dean Miguel GARCÍA-GARIBAY.
Candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Science and Bachelor of Arts in the Division of Physical Sciences. You have learned about the great challenges of our time, deep questions about the nature of our universe, about our origins, and, above all, about our future in the world in which we live. For instance, climate change lies in the domain of our students in atmospheric and oceanic sciences, earth, planetary, and space sciences, and the Institute of the Environment and Sustainability. The discovery of compounds that cure diseases and that lead to the sustainable generation of energy will be the world of our graduates in chemistry and biochemistry. The investigation into the deep structure of and history of our universe, as well as the possibility of other life in the cosmos, will be pioneered by our physics and astronomy graduates. Our graduates in mathematics and statistics will pioneer the mastery of a lot of data that we must now process in order to understand and manage an even more complex world. All of this and more will be addressed by you, our graduates in atmospheric and oceanic science, earth, planetary, and space sciences, statistics, environmental science, physics and astronomy, mathematics, chemistry and biochemistry, physical sciences graduates. You all live here with a deep fund of knowledge in the science underlying what we know about our world. You also carry with you finely honed skills in reasoning and analysis that will equip you to overcome the most daunting intellectual challenges that will be thrown your way. You are the cream of the crop. You have mastered the hard sciences. Chancellor Block, it is my honor to present to you the dedicated, inquisitive, analytical, gifted, and altogether stellar candidates for the degrees of Bachelor of Science and Bachelor of Arts from the Division of Physical Sciences.
Presenting the candidates for the bachelor's degrees in the Division of Social Sciences is Dean Darnell Hunt.
Candidates for the degrees of Bachelor of Science and Bachelor of Arts in the Division of Social Sciences. Though the extraordinary events of the past year mean you must celebrate this momentous day virtually, make no mistake, this is your day. You have earned this moment through the hard work, long hours, and perseverance you have shown. Each of you should be incredibly proud of what you have accomplished. Our motto in the social sciences is Engaging LA, Changing the World, and you are now positioned and expected to take what you have learned and make your mark on the world. As social scientists, you will have the opportunity to have a seat at the table to help achieve the positive changes you want to see in the world. As social scientists, you will address economic, political, and social conditions in order to create more equity and opportunity in our public and private institutions. As social scientists, you will examine the roots of social and cultural conflicts to move us toward a more just and humane society. As social scientists, you will communicate across cultures and communities, forging enduring partnerships with people different from yourselves, whether from different neighborhoods, different cities, different states, or different nations. As social scientists from UCLA, you have learned from the faculty and departments that are among the best in the world, and you will be active agents for change in the construction of a better society. All of you in the social sciences, including those in geography, aerospace, military science and naval science, Native American studies, communications, labor studies, anthropology, Asian American studies, gender studies, Chicana, Chicano, and Central American studies, history, sociology, African American studies, political science, and economics. You have learned to look at the world through a new lens of understanding. You have the research skills, the cultural insight, and the community-oriented perspective to change the world. Today, we celebrate your achievements and the promise of a future that benefits from your leadership. You have reached this moment not despite the challenges you have faced, but because you faced those challenges with dedication, thoughtfulness, and hard work. Chancellor Block, I am honored to present to you the most socially engaged, research-savvy, service-oriented, culturally creative, interactionally skillful, intersubjectively attuned, around-the-clock inspired and inspiring, multilingual, multicultural, and multi-everything you could ever think of plus more. The candidates for the degrees of Bachelor of Science and Bachelor of Arts from the great, unique, awesome, breathtaking, tremendous, splendid, impressive, and superb UCLA Division of Social Sciences. Congratulations, class of 2021.
The candidates for the bachelor's degrees have now been presented. I call on Chancellor Block to confer the degrees of Bachelor of Science and Bachelor of Arts on the class of 2021.
Candidates for the bachelor's degree. You have demonstrated what it means to be passionate, determined, and successful. You have persevered through unprecedented challenges and arrived at this moment triumphant. The entire UCLA community takes great pride in celebrating your achievements. I hope that your UCLA experience has shown you how capable and resilient you are. I hope it has broadened your worldview and has left you wanting to know more and to do more. Your undergraduate education is just the beginning of a life of continued discovery and learning, and the skills, friendships, and knowledge you've acquired here will serve you well as you go forth to build a better future. Now, by virtue of the authority vested in me by the Regents of the University of California, I hereby confer upon you the degree of Bachelor of Arts or Bachelor of Science. Congratulations, class of 2021. Go Bruins!
Thank you, Maya, Carmen, Toby, and Andrew. Here beside Powell Library, I think of the countless hours the class of 2021 spent studying within these walls. At the busiest times in front of the library, Dixon Court is teeming with students. Every spring, graduating students wear their caps and sashes and pose in front of Royce Hall. I celebrate with you, your families, and your friends today. No other class graduating from UCLA had to overcome the particular challenges of this past year, and you will certainly distinguish yourselves in your careers ahead. Recognize how remarkable it was to be in the class of 2021, how remarkable you are. Continue to gain knowledge and to hone the skills that brought you to this exceptional moment. I look forward with excitement to see your future, which is yours to build from the ground up. Congratulations, class of 2021. Go Bruins!